God, my hair's getting long. Now, look. I know what you're thinking. Phil, haven't you already done a video review for this game? Yes, I'm doing the Philosopher's Stone again, but the PS1 version is essentially a completely different game to the PC version, and I actually had both when I was young, so guess we're doing it all over again. Feel free to like and subscribe if you like what you see. There will be more wizardry to come. Also, come and join me on Twitch at some point. I've started playing old games, some that I plan on doing videos for, like this one. Anyway, let's join Harry again as he starts his first year at Hogwarts, and see how his journey unfolds on the PS1. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone was developed by Argonaut Games and published by EA Games in 2001 for the PS1. Interestingly, it starts the same as the PC one, with a storybook moment, although this time in colour. Once again, we are dropped straight into the body of Harry Potter, who gets a similar lecture from an even creepier version of Dumbledore. Huggy, Watty, Hogwarts! But this time, however, thank God we have reasonably normal controls instead of the weird tank controls that we had on PC. Not that there's a lot of places to go right now, as everywhere is locked. Obviously, the hall is far less impressive than the PC version, because, you know, PC Master Race. But still, they've tried making it look impressive with a giant stained glass window and all that. Good stuff. Fred and George, who look a bit ill if I'm being honest, instruct Harry to collect earwax flavoured beans found around the castle. Weird fetish, and they'll tell him the password to one of the portraits, behind which lies some juicy loot. There are also wizard cards to collect, sometimes hidden behind secret bookcases, with a cute little description.
Most famous wizard of all time.
Heading upstairs and walking through a beautiful candlelit hallway, we bump into Ron,
That slimy Slytherin, Ron Weasley,
who leads us to Malfoy,
Go home to your mother, Potter. Oh, sorry, you don't have one.
who's somehow stolen Hedwig, and Ron takes us through the tutorial level of the game. Somehow, all the children in this game are Olympian gymnasts and can leap through the air like ballerinas. Nearly Headless Nick,
Hello, Harry Potter!
instructs us to climb up this dangerous tower that has no barriers on the platforms, may I add. He also teaches us how to use Flipendo on disgusting giant snails, which also gives us house points for some reason, and to move giant blocks to reach higher places. You can also aim in first person, which means, that's right, Harry Potter first person shooter game, baby. Pew pew pew! Harry also gets house points for doing housekeeping and pest control. Dumbledore, literally please just pay Filch more. A creepy pervert in a black cloak watches Harry before we learn how to do a charged up Flipendo, and meet Neville, who's somehow pissed off a bunch of flying books. You can also use a lock-on system to Flipendo and switch between targets, but to be honest, I didn't really use it after this point because, I forgot it existed. Hedwig is trapped behind a metal grill, and once removed, she just flies back behind anyway, waste my bloody time, I swear to God, and upon leaving, Harry receives a broomstick. I guess Dumbledore wants him to do more cleaning then, seeing as Harry is so good at it. Ron drags us to a flying lesson, where Madam Hooch,
I am Madam Hooch.
makes Harry fly through a bunch of glowing rings, and if you struggled with the controls for flying in the PC version, boy, you're gonna struggle here. It's not too bad, but some of the turns are super tight, and I'm not quite good enough to make them all. Hoochie showers us with house points before we meet up with Ron and Hermione, where Ron bullies her literally right in front of her face.
She's rather annoying, isn't she?
Heading to Charms class, Harry faces an assault course of flying tables and dangerous jumps to reach class. Flitwick teaches us Wingardium Leviosa, with an actually kinda challenging button pressing task, less hard than the stupid tracing one from the PC version, but way harder than the piss easy up down left right thing from the Chamber of Secrets PC game. Taking the trio through to the challenge, we learn how to use the spell, and when casting it, Harry shows us his best twisty dance moves.
Wingardium Leviosa!
And we move some hourglasses onto podiums, where you hold X to move the object higher and triangle to drop it into place. Not too difficult, but I imagine the limited spell time makes this a bit challenging for kids. And that's it. That's the spell lesson over. Why was reaching class a task of Herculean proportions, but the lesson just moving one hourglass? Leaving class, Harry gets a letter from Hagrid demanding he head out to the castle grounds, but guess who we find blocking our way?
Trapped in a big scary castle, eh? Oh dear, I think Potter is going to cry.
Who kindly decides to give us a lesson in wizard crackers, along with his goons. But they're all soon persuaded to politely shove off. I also kind of really love the wizard cracker sound effect. We also get a nice clip of the weekly house point ceremony where Obv's Gryffindor is winning. Ravenclaw, pathetic performance. Although thinking about it, I don't think house points really do anything, as at the end, Dumbledore just makes Gryffindor win anyway, right? Finally reaching the outside world, Hagrid immediately tells us to bugger off again and head straight to Herbology Class, where once again we have to break the Health and Safety at Work Act 1974 to reach class, and Sprouty teaches us Incendio, which is actually kind of a challenge to cast. You have to press the corresponding buttons when they pass across this spinning circle, which goes faster and faster. Heading back out, we learn how to catch the golden snitch. Good stuff. Bump into Fred and George, who now tell us to collect blue beans. So it turns out that the 4 sections of the game have different coloured beans, which unlock a portrait in each area. Kind of fun. We also pass a boy whose kitten has fallen down into a well in the dungeons. Sounds like this will become relevant later on. And we head down towards the forest to meet up with Hagrid. Weird potato, butternut squash kind of looking creatures called puffskeins are here to greet us, and they convert prickly bushes into delectable beans. Lovely. And they make the cutest little squeaky noises. So cute! Reaching Hagrid's hut, he tells us to go and fetch some fire seeds, and heading on, the weird cloaked figure brings a gargoyle to life to try and murder Harry, but a few charged up Flipendos and Wingardium Leviosa, and the struggling gargoyle is back in his rightful place. Heading into the forest, Harry encounters boiling hot lava, collapsing platforms, and some puzzles with the puffskeins, which get larger with each prickly bush they consume. What an absolute unit. Once they get to a big enough circumference, they can lodge into vents in the ground, where they, fart? Increasing pressure in the airstreams to lift Harry up to higher levels. Cracking open the seed casing with Incendio, Harry chucks the seeds into Hagrid's fire to hatch cute little Norbert the dragon. Why does Hagrid have a framed picture of Dumbledore in his hut? Hagrid gives you the book, Quidditch Through the Ages. And finally escaping, Ron drags you away to show you something he found, which is just the Quidditch pitch. Wow, it's so small, that must have been hard to find. Neville shows his face again for some reason, and he's had his Remembrall stolen by Malfoy, so naturally, Harry is forced to get it back. Taking to their broomsticks, Harry chases Malfoy around the castle, bashing him every now and then until Malfoy gives in. Returning the trinket to Neville, what's that? Remember to subscribe and like this video? McGonagall swoons at the idea of Harry competing in Quidditch and forces him to immediately compete against Hufflepuff. Lee Jordan enthusiastically gets the crowd going, and Harry has to fly through 3 series of coloured rings, filling the bar before the opponent Seeker does, and then catching the snitch. Following the match, Snip,
remember my name,
scolds Harry for having a library book in his possession, thanks Hagrid, Jesus, and tells Harry to head to potions class once the sloth brain ingredient has been found, whatever the hell that is. Ron reveals himself, where the hell were you when Snape was interrogating me, and reveals a secret door from a map from Fred and George, where Ron suspects they've hidden the sloth brain. Venturing through the forest, Harry comes across pufferpods, venomous tentacula, and horklumps before coming across the gross sloth brain. It is literally just a sloth's brain. Harry and Ron head to the dungeons, where Ron betrays Harry and lets him take the hit from Snape, who obviously thinks Harry stole the brain, because what else would be more sus than this? Harry's sus. I swear I saw him kill Orange in the medbay. Snape teaches the potions class how to mix a Wiggenweld potion by pressing various button combos with lovely musical notes, and praising Harry for his work.
Potter, I've never seen such pathetic work.
He sends the boy to collect some fireflies from the next room, where the creep from before yeets Harry into the floor, sending him into the deeper dungeons. Pufferpods can be used to make these mini trolls sneeze and fall into drains, and Harry stumbles upon that lost kitten from before. Aww! In a mini escort mission, Harry protects the cat from big rats and then levitates the little kitty back up to the surface. Moving on, Harry navigates across a series of cauldrons without falling in, raising some platforms, and has to sneak into a troll's bedroom to steal a key. Seems like a bit of an invasion of privacy going into someone's bedroom, but heading through this dumb looking troll door to collect the fireflies and returning back to class before being sent off to yet another class. I know this is a school, but like, geez, do they get any spare time? The challenge to get to Defense Against the Dark Arts is pretty difficult, but honestly, I feel like it's worth getting the beans and losing a few measly house points for not getting there in time. Quirrell teaches us Verdimillious, a spell that generates floating platforms for a limited time. The door leading out of the dungeon is blocked with evil eye curses, which can only be lifted by destroying their counterparts in the next dungeon section, which, my god, I immediately got lost in. When I eventually found and destroyed all the curses, it took me so long to get back out because I could not work out how the hell to leave again. Should I have done a map? Like, making it to the upper castle, we are immediately locked in and forced to go to class. I have to say, the one thing that I hate about this game is how it is constantly moving you along from place to place, even preventing you from returning to the rest of the castle for no good reason. Like, I didn't realise Hogwarts was a prison, jeez. Facing another unnecessary platforming challenge, Harry makes it to Transfiguration, where he learns Avifors, a spell that transforms statues into birds, releasing floating tables or platforms that lie beneath them. Leaving class, Hedwig drops Harry a parcel, but not before P leaves the poltergeist, grabs it and bolts off, and a chase ensues, where Harry has to clamber over, leap between, and slide down a bunch of beams in the roof of the castle, a challenge that is actually kinda difficult. Opening the package, we find the Invisibility Cloak, which here can only be temporarily activated by certain pickups. Trying to leave the upper castle, we for some reason are forced to pass through the Forbidden Corridor, which Filch and his cat Mrs. Norris guard in a stealth mission. Harry has to sneakily climb up and over bookcases to find a key to progress, and being spotted results in having to start all over again. Harry eventually stumbles upon the Mirror of Erised, and we have another storybook moment. Honestly, a cutscene would have been nicer, but whatever. Escaping the Forbidden Corridor, Harry comes across Ron, who shouts loudly about a troll being on the loose.
Harry! A huge troll is on the rampage!
Literally, do I care? Ron, being a true white knight, insists that he and Harry help, before running off and leaving Harry to deal with distracting the troll. Well, thanks Ron, true friend. The following chase is actually pretty damn hard. Much harder than the PC version, I swear, and it does not help that you can't see a lot of what's coming up. Making it to the girls' bathroom, the troll throws toilet bowls and plumbing at the pair, while Ron tries to levitate the troll's club, leaving Harry to destroy the incoming projectiles, which again is kinda hard, as aiming quick enough is pretty difficult. Hermione is elated that the pair murdered the disgusting creature, and Harry once again is whisked away to Quidditch. Please leave me alone, it's been such a long day, can I just sit down? Having beaten Ravenclaw to a pulp, Hagrid then tells Harry that Norbert is sick and needs a special tonic, of which the ingredients will have to be sourced from Diagon Alley. Honestly Hagrid, this seems like more of a you problem. Arriving at the fabulous shopping district, Hagrid buggers off to the pub and leaves Harry to take money out of his own account to buy all the ingredients for something he literally doesn't give a single shite about. Diagon Alley looks kinda nice though, a bit more interesting than the interior of Hogwarts does. Actually, thinking about it, Hogwarts here can look a bit plain and cold at times. Obviously, I'm not expecting the same level of detail as the PC version, but comparing the two, the PC version is so much warmer and inviting, matching the look of the film a bit better in my opinion. Also, everything is kind of a bit out of proportion here. Harry can spring up super high to reach the top of bookshelves. Meanwhile, in real life, I can barely move my aching bones. The rooms here can also be pretty small before having to go through a door to load the next, which isn't a problem per se, but it does limit how big Hogwarts feels, and it's not really a PS1 problem, as other games like Crash and Spyro have massive levels with no visible loading. It isn't all bad though, keep in mind. They tried their best. The polygons can be pretty jaggedy, but overall the castle looks reasonably good, with some nice particle effects and objects littered throughout. However, let's not get started on how the characters look. Like, I don't think this was meant to be a horror game, and yet...
Now be off with you!
The voice acting is pretty great though.
Anyone messing around in my class will leave and not come back.
We can't let anyone interfere with my plans. Can we, Mr. Filch?
Well done, young sir. That's the correct password. Let's see if I can get these old hinges working.
The music is also by Jeremy Soule again, although it's definitely a lot less prominent somehow, with a lot of areas with just no music, which is a bit of a shame. Anyway, heading back to Diagon Alley, Harry heads to Gringotts, which, look, I know I just completely trashed this game's graphics, but look, this is actually stunning. The slippery, polished floors are a great touch. The main goblin tells us we're gonna have to collect a bunch of forms and then good luck. Good luck? I'm just trying to take some of my money out of my account, mate. What could possibly be difficult? Okay, so first off, you have to slip around picking up loads of forms and take them to the goblin. Wow, the slippery floors don't seem like such a great touch anymore. He then leads you through to the minecart, where you have to control the cart yourself for some reason, swinging it left and right to avoid obstacles and collect Gringotts. I can't believe it's actually pronounced Gringotts. I swear to God for all these years I thought it was nuts, but here we are. And my God, if you thought the troll chase was hard, this is just another level. I don't know how the hell I ever got through this when I was young. It's impossible. Avoiding obstacles was just about doable, but trying to swing around to get these corkscrew arranged coins was so damn hard, and crashing into a barrier would cause you to drop a bunch of coins. If you do manage to collect a run of coins, it makes a trail of gems appear, and collecting them all in a vault awards you with a wizard card, I think. Not that I would actually know, because as if I was capable of doing that when it took me like 10 goes just to get enough coins in the first place. If you manage to fill up the meter 3 times, you're allowed to leave this hellhole and return to the slippery corridors where, guess what? You have to do the whole thing all over again twice. All of this for a stupid tonic for a stupid baby dragon. Stupid! Assuming you manage to get enough money out, you escape to Diagon Alley to collect the dumb ingredients. In one shop, you have to collect 3 toadwarts by smashing open boxes, another you have to feed an owl until it falls asleep and drops a feather, And the third, Ollivander's, you have to follow a peacock around, remaining close enough that it drops a feather, which is already a pretty difficult task as it obviously keeps moving. But add in the fact that the proximity meter decreases when you walk away, you aren't allowed to flipendo it, and you have to collect 3 feathers in the time. Oh, and yes, it's timed. This challenge is another random spike in difficulty. This game seems pretty damn unbalanced, with some super short lesson challenges, and then randomly the super confusing dungeon, the difficult troll chase, the impossible Gringotts challenge, and now this? Did they playtest this game, like, at all? Having finally collected all the ingredients, Hagrid gives the tonic to Norbert, who feels a lot better at least, but obviously has to leave because people can't just keep dragons as pets, Hagrid. In another storybook moment, Harry helps take the dragon up to the tallest tower to be taken away by Charlie Weasley, when Malfoy tells on the trio, and the 4 of them are sent off to the Forbidden Forest to help search for an injured unicorn. Harry, for some reason, is left to explore on his own. Keep in mind this is a child, knocking down trees, burning down bushes, murdering turtles. Eventually, Harry finds the unicorn, with the mysterious cloaked figure drinking its blood, before getting his literal face sucked away. Actually, I think that's just my emulator messing up, but still, looks pretty funny. Firenze comes to rescue Harry. Hello, body oddy oddy. Hagrid gifts Harry with a flute that can send creatures to sleep, and Harry practices by tranquilizing a barn owl. Leaving the hut, Hermione insists that Harry and Ron immediately head up to get past Fluffy to find the Philosopher's Stone. Ron begrudgingly follows her.
Come on, Ron, let's go. I suppose.
While Harry gets one last opportunity to have a look around the castle. While I wouldn't say there was an abundance of hidden secrets, there were some random tasks and challenges listed throughout the game, such as rooms with these dangerous suits of armour, cauldron pushing puzzles with Nicky Nicky Boy, and this random one where someone's sweets and chocolates have been charmed by a nasty Slytherin student, which was actually kinda hard, again just because the aiming is quite difficult. I also took this as an opportunity to collect some of the Bean Portrait passwords and the goodies hiding behind them. I did try going for the upper castle one, but accidentally went through the wrong door and then got locked out. Oh well. Apparently that one would have been a powerful flipendo upgrade, but you know, I'm sure I'll be fine, I won't need it. Finding Fluffy, Harry plays the flute to the 3 dog heads to put them to sleep in turn. Not too difficult. Did receive a small bite, maybe Harry should get a tetanus shot. Dropping through the trap door, Ron and Hermione manage to get themselves trapped behind a wall of devil's snare tentacles, and Harry has to flipendo some big spiky tentacles in turn, before taking on the big bad boss tentacle, which tries to bitch slap Harry as he flipendos, and then he incendios it to death. Next up is a big rusty key chase, which plays similarly to chasing the snitch in Quidditch, but with some super aggressive evil keys that took me down a few times. We have a chess puzzle that plays very similarly to the PC version, a reappearance from the troll where Harry has to move obstacles out of the way to stop it waking up before it plunges to its death in a deep dark hole. And can you follow which cup has the ice potion in it? Although this time we also have to fight a suit of armour to receive the potion. Battling a few more knights, as well as a giant invisible knight with some crazy camera angles, we eventually reach the mirror, where Harry realises he has the stone, and Quirrell finally reveals he has Lord Voldemort fused to his bald skull. Who would have guessed? We then get a final showdown, where we have to knock over columns onto him, while avoiding his curses and breaking out of magical ropes. Eventually we have to charge up the mirror with Flipendo, and fire super Flipendo charms at him, before he grabs Harry and tries to literally suck the life force out of him. This is so damn scary. Look at that. Rapidly tapping square stops Voldemort from stealing Harry's health, and he is soon defeated. Damn, my game has some trippy visual bugs. Finally going to a final storybook scene, Dumbledore wraps up the story, and of course gives Gryffindor enough house points to steal the house cup, and we get a lovely little credit sequence. If you collect each and every famous witch and wizard card, I believe you get to take on Slytherin in the final Quidditch match of the year, but as if I was going to try and do that. But yeah, there we go. A reasonably good translation of the film into a game. The graphics are solid if nothing special. Gameplay varies from simple to, oh god, why is this so difficult? It's a kid's game. And the game does provide some extra things not explored in some of the other versions, such as my favourite cute little Puffskeins. Neither this nor the PC version give you a good enough opportunity to explore Hogwarts as freely as I would like. Like, do I have to have every door locked behind me, really? But still, a perfectly nostalgic trip down memory lane. Oh, thank God we finished with that. I thought I was going to be stuck in Gringotts until the end of my life. Feel free to check out my other Harry Potter reviews if you haven't done so already. I'll probably do a video for Chamber of Secrets PS2 at some point, and if I do, I'll probably be streaming it on Twitch, so feel free to give me a follow so you don't miss out. I'll probably also post on my Instagram and Twitter, so feel free to follow those too. Wow, look at me doing calls to action. Proper YouTuber. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye! Is that Ron? Don't talk to me. Don't. Oh!
Hey, Harry!
remember me? Ron Weasley.
Literally know who are you.
Hi, Harry. Have you met Hermione yet? She's a real know-it-all. And a teacher's pet.
Wow, what a great introduction.
She's rather annoying, isn't she?
He said that to her face. To her face.
Well, well, well. If it isn't the famous Harry Potter. Go home to your mother, Potter. Oh, sorry. You don't have one, do you?
Okay, that was a sick burn.
Oh, sorry.